I'd like to show you a couple of interesting pieces and also some pieces you should have. This is the old style vacuum tube voltmeter. You can't beat it. There's no digital meter alive that will tell you all the things that these will. The problem with a DVM and other digital interpretations of the analog world is that they don't give us a total picture, and many times they can be fooled very easily. High frequency signals will fool a DVM into showing either too much voltage or not enough voltage. A vacuum tube voltmeter like this is flat to many megacycles so that you're able to look at oscillating circuits and all sorts of interesting things without either hurting the circuitry or getting false readings. Here's kind of a cool piece. I've been looking for another one, or maybe I'll just have to sell this one. It's a little Fisher monaural preamp, and boy, it's just built beautifully. Nice little potted transformer. It's really, and it sounds nice. Fisher preamps are really good sounding. They're probably one of the best preamps stock of just about any of the ones we found out there. Now this is one unit that drives all the recording studio guys crazy. It's the old style reverb unit. This one happens to be vacuum tubes made by Pioneer. And of course you can sit there and you can watch the little window and all the little stuff going on inside there. I don't know what that all means, but it's interesting to watch. These work really good because they're very clean and they give you a better analog type ambience than many digital type systems do. Here we have an ICO, I think it's a HF85 preamp, extremely compact for its size, very small. They have a nice sound. If you eliminate the tone controls, they have an excellent sound, and they have a nice steel cage so that they're very quiet, even in the phono section. This is a really nice unit. This is a Luxman CL35 preamp, probably one of the best built preamps made in the early 80s. I think this is probably early 80s. Luxman makes very good stuff. Some of their equipment at the time was probably some of the best ever made. Fully featured preamp, including a whole bunch of 12AX7s. This thing's got them all. It also has other unusual features like built-in moving coil step-up transformers, and they are very nice. I'd love to see how the winding was done inside those things because I bet it's really great. Here's another unusual piece. Probably never seen one of these. It's a Dynaco DSC1 volume control. You would take two of your monaural preamps, set one here, set the other one here, and then they came with a new faceplate that went across all three units, turning it into a stereo unit. That's kind of unusual. We just use it as a passive preamp volume control when we're testing amps, and it's probably one of the most used pieces of test equipment we have. Here's one of the more interesting pieces to run across. It's a regulated bench power supply which produces up to 350 volts DC at about 150 milliamps, and this is one of the best modifications for a preamp or a power amp is to regulate the power supply. I just can't stress that enough. It really works wonderful. I've seen customers take these things and they modify the one side to put out 12 or 24 volts DC regulated for the filaments and the other side to do the B+. And this makes more difference than tubes, cables, just about anything. Here's an unusual homebrew piece. This guy was really trying hard to do a great job. If you take a close look at this, you'll see that he has porcelain, silver-plated switches, vitamin Q capacitors, and precision resistors throughout. These are the old style. I don't think they do much of those anymore. And then to top it off, it's dual mono. There's two separate chassis, one for the top, one for the bottom. This was the ultimate in someone's attempt to make a great preamp. We haven't run this one, but one of these days we'll get a little extra energy and go after some of this cloth wiring, fire it up and see what we got. It's kind of a neat piece. This is one of my favorite pieces. It's a piece made for the International Projector Company by Altec Lansing. It uses two 807s with all peerless output transformers for 75 watts. This is like a $600 transformer. I guess this is one of my complaints about some of the new amplifiers coming out. What we're seeing is PA or guitar quality amplifiers hooked up to a bunch of good circuitry, and guess what? Hey, it sounds okay. But a lot of the technology and art into winding transformers has been lost, and now these people have to go back through all the engineering that took to get these up to as good as they were even back 30 years ago. So for the most part, I don't feel that the transformers they're making nowadays can compare with some of these old Peerless. They're still working on it. They're still working on it. Here's an unusual piece. You don't see a lot of these around. This is an Olson amplifier made in Japan. This uses 4 7189s for about 20 watts per channel. It's unbelievably made, very well thought out, and not a bad sounding amplifier. I think these may be some of the best wound transformers of their size I've ever seen. Between the Sansui single-ended amplifier I have and some of these transformers, I think they might be some of my favorite winds or windings I've ever heard.